Oh, come on. Still here, don't worry, Cilna. Don't panic.
I was like, did you fall off your chair? Are you cool, Tebsa? Like Gauteng
Oh,
won't be okay without you. So I'm
oh
very worried.
no. Can't afford for that to happen. No, I'm just trying to sort out my camera here.
No worries. No worries.
But we'll get there eventually. Okay, I believe we are live. So let's kick off this beautiful Sunday evening. So, for those who are joining in for the first time, my name is Tebogo Moalusi. I am the Gauteng Convenor for RISE Mzansi, also doubling up as the national spokesperson. Sometimes we have to wear a few hats because the job must get done. But what a pleasure. So these are the Fireside Chats with RISE Mzansi. We basically are using this platform to have frank conversations with the people of RISE Mzansi. At the moment, we've used it as a platform to introduce the leaders of RISE Mzansi, but as it evolves, we hopefully will be inviting people from all walks of life to use this as a platform to communicate and connect with South Africans broadly. I hope you've had a fantastic week, everyone who's tuning in. Thank you so much. We're looking forward to having this wonderful conversation with the Cilna Steyn.
I feel like I have to do a cartwheel or something.
What a pleasure. Welcome, Cilna Steyn. Cilna, for everyone who's new to our movement, is our Deputy Chairperson. Very important person in our organization, and we'll unpack that in terms of what she does and the role she plays. But we're also going to sit in her personal story for a while. We don't want to talk too much shop, but we will talk a bit RISE Mzansi. RISE Mzansi is amazing. So we have to talk about that. But today is about unpacking the Cilna Steyn. Cilna, goeiemorgen. Good evening. How are you?
Good, good, good. Thank you, Tebsa. It's so nice to be with you. I was looking forward to our chat all day, and I'm really good. I actually had the joy of having our good friend Ruiswa join us to church. Ruiswa and her family join my family to church. So it's just such a good day driving past all the Rise Mzansi posters, being able to spend some time together. I think as much as a year ago from now, we were strangers and then colleagues and now close friends. It's a beautiful thing. So my heart is full and happy, and I'm having even now the joy of chatting to you. So it feels like a day filled with friends. So I'm very good, very very
Amazing.
good.
What was the sermon about today? What did you guys get to experience? What did you feel about, your experience at church today?
It's my church is pretty wild. If you're not worship fit, you're not gonna make it. It's like an hour's worship. It's really like it's real. It's like very real, and you need to be alive. That's why every time people look surprised to my singing and dancing fitness at Rise events, they would
Hmm.
like, where did you get that? It's in my church. I get it from there. I can dance and sing, and I can go for an hour without having to take a break. So that's always beautiful. But the sermon actually today is actually something that's very close to your heart, I know, and to quite a few people in the team about fathers
Mm,
and the fatherless world that we are living in, and the need of fathers to really step in and step up and be fathers, and men to step up and be who they were made to be. So it was a very powerful sermon, and a very shame the guy said ladies, sorry, this one's not for you today. I'm preaching to the men, but it's actually very much for the ladies, because as women and wives and mothers, we need to raise our boys and love our husbands and honor our fathers, to allow that space for men to be who they made to be, to protect and to lead, and to obviously women as well. But men are made to be protectors, and if given the right space to thrive, the world's a very different place with strong, confident men around.
Oh,
So it's actually a youth sermon as well. You would have loved it. I'll share the link afterwards with you.
yeah, please do, please do. So is, our journey, I'm learning that we do a lot of physical work, we do a lot of mental work. We have to kind of intellectually apply ourselves because we are professionals operating in a highly important and significant space. But spiritual fitness, like you said, is an important part of our journey. There's so much energy management, energy refinement, that goes with the work we do, because we see so much brokenness, and so filling our cups as often as possible is so important. So please do share the sermon, and you're right, it is something close to me. I have had the pleasure of and the honor of having a fantastic father, a present father, who has set an example for me. And so the relationship I have with fatherhood is an important one, and that's what I try to make sure I fulfill as part of my purpose. So I'm looking forward to hearing what the word was about today, and sharing that with my community of fathers out there. Being a father is difficult, but it's such an honor and such an important journey. So whenever we can get fuel in the tank and some wisdom, we will definitely tap in.
And so many fathers that aren't aren't biological fathers per se, or aren't even direct in the relationship. Spiritual fathers that are rising up. Yeah, I really shout out to good fathers.
That's what's up. And so talking about fathers, I guess fathers are, or at least men, are part of the process of bringing life into the world. That's why you are here, Cilna. Biologically,
Very, very true. Thank you,
something
Papa.
happened, and Cilna was born, and she started contributing to the world as a human being. But let's start with your name. What's in a name? And I know, Cilna, are there any other names? Where does it come from? What does it mean to you? Tell us a bit about your name and how you identify with
that. It's a journey. My name is a journey. So there's not just one, Cilna, and it's followed by, wait for this, Petronella.
Oh.
And I was actually born, my maiden name is Ligtelm, and there's clearly a very good reason why I decided Steyn could be an easier surname than Ligtelm. Most people can't even try and spell Ligtelm. It's obviously a Dutch surname, and it means light head, licht helm, like light head. And this, for everybody's benefit, nobody ever asked, but here's the answer. This is my natural hair color. I see my hairdresser once a year to trim it a little. I don't do anything funky with my hair. This is my natural hair. So my surname, maiden name, is obviously very accurate, because this is about as blonde as you can go. And I struggled actually with my name for a very long time. Apologies, there's a very excited dog next to me. He's like ready for life.
So don't worry about it. We got you.
And Petronella means actually from Peter, so rock. So the name of the Apostle Peter, meaning rock. And I actively dislike my surname. Not my surname, sorry, my name, Petronella. It's so, it's pretty deep Afrikaans. It's hard. And when I started journeying with this name, Rock, the meaning of the name, I started really enjoying my name. And then Cilna, actually my grandmother, my father's mother, she loved combining names, but that was now an old traditional Afrikaans thing. Afrikaans people combine names, they mix and match, and they use letters, they throw it together like a massive Scrabble exercise, and they come up with names. So her mother, so my great grandmother, was named Cilna Steyn. And from Cilna, my grandmother mixed letters up. She came up with Cilna. She named her oldest daughter Cilna. And I'm the youngest of four sisters. They're actually right behind me on a picture, but obviously you can't see all of them. I'm the youngest of four. So by the time we came to me, my parents came to me, they had to name me after my father's oldest sister. And it's actually my great grandmother's name. And because we'll get to that later, but I have, I've for a long time, I had to journey with the shame of being Afrikaans and being from Dutch descent and that whole European thing. And is this my country? Is it not my country? That whole drama stuck for me in my name, in Cilna Steyn. It felt like this thing that makes me feel like I'm not part of this country. It took me about 40 years to deal with that, and now I can very proudly say I'm African, in the true sense of the word. But it was a bit of a journey. But my great grandmother Omasina, I heard this one story. I never met her, but there was this one story. She was a young girl. She was about my daughter's age now when it was the Anglo-Boer War. And the English tend to come into, I just want to say for the record, I don't have issues with any English people. My business partners, English, everybody like that. But this is just history. They tend to come into the houses and throw out all the mielie meal and step on it so the people don't have food to eat. And she saw the English coming, and she was wearing a little voortrekker rokkie. And they had the mielie meal in a container, and she went to sit on this thing, and she just started singing psalms until they left. And she saved the mielie meal for the family, potentially saving my family's, that whole part. And in that, I thought there's something that I am, and that I want to be, and that I'm proud of, and I can actually be proud of my heritage. It's not all bad. It's not all like the Afrikaner things. There's a lot of Afrikaner stuff to be proud of. There's a lot of beautiful stories in being Afrikaans, and there's a lot of beautiful stories actually coming from the Boer War, just in how people work together, how people have faith. And my great grandmother's faith is the thing that I pride myself on, and that I luckily have. And like I said, it took me some time, but that's where the name is from. And that's why you will lately hear me very proudly say that I'm Cilna Steyn. And I'm proud to carry a powerful woman's name, and my aunt as well. Tannie Cilna, she's still alive and well, and an absolute powerhouse. And one of the biggest RISE Mzansi supporters. She's signing people up in the old age home. Tannie Cilna is going, and I'm proud of my name.
Ah, beautiful. I always start our conversations with that because, it's the first gift we're given, and that gift is thoughtful. I have the benefit of having seen even my own children go through an intricate process of being named. And I think your name echoes into eternity. It actually transcends time and space. Because like you say, yours was influenced by a generation before you and maybe generations before that. And even after we leave this earth, our names will remain in kind of the system, as it were. And other people can choose to, use that name in whichever way they want to contribute to the universe. So really, really powerful, timeless are our names. And then, growing up, maybe briefly tell us how you grew up and what were some of the key aspects that have defined Cilna today, as a person. How did you become Cilna Steyn?
Wow. Like I said, I'm the youngest of four four daughters. And growing up in a family where my parents are farmers, to have four daughters in a farming community, everybody's like, shame you on. You're probably going through the most. By the time I came, everybody's like, oh, Sistof, are you going to try one last time? Like, surely you can get a boy across the line. And they never did. It turns out I am also a girl. And my father also always got very, almost aggressively protective of us.
Mm.
And my dad is the ultimate feminist. I don't think he realized it because I don't think he ever did it like intentionally. But my sisters, all of us, each one of us are absolutely crazy, and we do not know that there could be potential limitations for us. Like we believe in ourselves because our dad just never, ever had this thing of your gender limits you. So if that doesn't limit you, nothing limits you. And my dad, yeah, shape. I don't think he realized what an amazing uh, father to daughters specifically is, because my all three my sisters are absolute powerhouse women, and I've always thought I'm like the baby sister that's like the less intelligent one and the less successful one. And if I look at my life and I see myself as the lesser of my sisters, I must say, it's pretty impressive what again fathers who's really just taught us. He never taught us stuff like it's a man's world and what. He's just like, you go do you. Don't be influenced with the world and what people say. You just, you do you. And that's what we've been doing. And we just believe in ourselves, and we believe we can change the world. And the truth about that is, if you believe that you can change the world, you're going to change the world, whether you want to or not. It's just about, are you doing the things that you should be doing, and are you changing the world in a direction that it should be or not? And then my mum, they are both still alive, which I'm amazingly blessed with. And they are the most amazing people. My mum is she's something else. She used to be 100% actively farming. And that's where I saw how a person can work. I've seen my mum. So I grew up on a peach farm girl. I've been on the front page of the Landbou Weekblad in 1990. And I've been so 100% farm girl. And I've seen my mum be out, whether it's pruning or like picking peaches with the people. Like she'll get up on the ladders and she'll just be going. And by the time she gets home, she's completely dirty and she has to take a shower before she fetches us from school. But she drove to town every morning, 25 kilometers, in the afternoon again, to drop us off, to fetch us, while she had this tough job. And I think doing what I'm currently doing, people often ask me, Cilna, how do you do it? Where do you find time? And I was just like, it feels like normal, because that's what my mom did. She just did it, and it was spectacular to watch afterwards. But in the moment, it didn't even look like she's breaking her sweat in a day. She was just going, and that changed my life. But I think had a massive impact. I was born in 1983. Same harvest year as our good friend Mr. Garner, and and in that time it was obviously proper apartheid, and I was big enough to see the different queues at the bank. I was big enough and old enough to recognize, this doesn't make sense, because the family that I grew up in was spectacular. My grandfather on my father's side, he was, I think, nobody ever realized what a struggle fighter the man was. He was actively against, he spoke out against apartheid, and a lot, like being unpopular in the community, but he was obviously not out fighting. So I never saw him as a struggle fighter until now, until I actually realized what he did in his own community, where he started a school. Actually, my great grandfather started a school on the farm, and for the kids on the farm. And when there was visiting teachers in the 80s, they stayed over with my grandparents, and it was very normal to sit around the table with black teachers. It was nothing weird for me, and they stayed in the spare bedroom. It was like nothing weird until afterwards, looking back in apartheid, to invite a couple, in most of the time it was a couple, black teachers into your home to eat with you, to stay with you, was actually quite revolutionary. But in my life, it was normal. That's how Oupa Hendrik rolled. That was what it was. And I think in that, I saw something of South Africa that I don't think a lot of Afrikaans kids born in the early 80s saw. I was almost shielded in a way from apartheid, because the people that worked on the farm, and like the domestic workers in the house, Tannie Emelina, she's still alive, and we're going to visit her soon. She's in Mpumalanga. Salvi and I will go and visit. We always had to call our domestic workers Tannie, like you don't call her to make your bed. You make your bed. It's like she's here to help my mum to iron and do things in the house, but you show respect like you do to any other elder. And I think it shaped my way of seeing the world and seeing South Africa specifically, because I remember watching Madiba's release. I must have been standard one about. Watched his release with the domestic workers and with all the farm workers. So it was like, and it wasn't like a us and a them situation. It was an us thing. So that thing of Ubuntu, I've been to more traditional weddings and funerals, which is probably why everybody wonders why I can suddenly fall into beat and and join. That's the way I was raised, which is very abnormal for an Afrikaans girl. And I think, God is intentional. And when God has a plan for a country and he needs players to change a country, to change a world, he's intentional enough to start people. You're not born into a family by chance. You're born into a family for a reason. And I've always known that my life story is somewhere going to end up in a weird way, where it's going to have an impact on South Africa. Because I was 5 years old when I started collecting money and took it to Dominee Francois, the pastor at church, and I said, please take this money and buy food for the kids that are hungry, the people that don't have food. So somewhere at 5 already, there was something planted in my heart, and I didn't go to creche or preschool or something. I was hanging with the kids on the farm. I was obviously the only white girl, but like that's my life, has always been hanging on the farm. And my friends were never had the same color skin as I did until I went to school. And I must say, I feel at home in South Africa. And I do believe that one of the big reasons for my upbringing and the way I was placed, I think there's people needed to talk about healing and talk about heartache and talk about things that we might have misperceptions about people. And I think I was placed in a very specific family to be the voice of healing.
Yeah. Well, it's no wonder you find yourself at RISE, and we'll talk a little bit about that. Destiny, has got a funny way of converging certain parts. But to everyone who's joining us, good evening. We are sitting and having a fireside chat at RISE Mzansi with Cilna Steyn, our Deputy Chairperson. Very strong woman. Her name is embedded in a rock, literally and otherwise. So thanks for joining us. And if you want to post any questions, feel free. Let's she's here for us. She's here for this moment. Nothing is off the table. So yeah, let's get chatting. But now, Cilna, you grow up and you become a young woman. You have to choose what you want to study and how to start contributing to the world. Tell us a bit about that.
Oh, wow. I'm going to tell a story that I don't think I've ever told, even remotely publicly. Okay, here it comes. In preparation for today's chat, I was just preparing myself to be, you know, just be open and tell my stories. So when you ask that question, I'm like, oh, that's the moment now. So okay, so I am the worst academic, which is very bizarre because I'm an admitted attorney. I'm the MD of a law firm, still actively practicing. Not like actively. I'm managing a bunch of brilliant lawyers. Luckily, I found people way more clever than me, so that's fantastic to hang in the firm while I'm just quickly politicking on the side. But I am a practicing attorney, and I still here and there get the chance of lawyering a little bit. And I'm a published author. Sorry, I'm wearing my daughter's unicorn earphones, and this this
They
unicorn
sound
is
great.
leaving.
They sound fantastic. Like you'd never say.
This unicorn is not staying in the stable. But, so, and I'm a published author. I'm on the panel of experts for the Law Society. And every time I tell people I'm really not academically inclined, they look a little surprised, but I'm really not. Sis toch, I will definitely share a link of this video with Juffrou Sanet Griesel, my high school mathematics teacher. That woman is an angel that can also do mathematics.
Mhm.
She pulled me through mathematics. I finished with a higher grade mathematics because Juffrou Griesel believed in me. She's like, Cilna, we're going to pull you through. Luckily, pass rate's 40. I landed that one on 43. So whenever you have a mathematical question, I am not your girl. And I actively dislike studying. So from high school through varsity, I obviously did enough to finish my degrees and like, but I don't like studying. I really don't like studying for an exam. Tepsa, you and I are sitting on the opposite ends of that one. Thank goodness we have people like you that are willing to to sit exams. But I actually started my MBA. I did organizational behavior up to just before the exam, and I said, peace out, guys, this looks amazing, but you guys have fun. So it's amazing. I take my hat off every time to somebody who did more than what was absolutely necessary. But I grew up in a family where the arrangement was my father will pay for our first degrees, and that our blessed to not even have a choice but to go and
Mhm.
study. We had to, like, it was set. And you had to go and study to a degree, not a diploma or anything. You had to be a degree at a university. And but what you study is up to you. And so grade 11, I was like, didn't think it like I'm, what the study thing's not going to happen. Matric, I realized, well, I probably should start thinking of something. So I thought, okay, what sounds, not easy, but what sounds like it's not gonna like take now everything out of me. I would have been wrong on this one. So just for the record, I don't think this is an easy degree, but I enrolled for to become a teacher because I
Mhm.
thought, imagine me as a teacher, the kids would not be okay. So thank you for all the teachers. Like I said, I don't think it's an easy degree, but in grade 10, I mean, in matric, you think your teachers aren't necessary. They obviously didn't put in much effort in. As a teenager, you don't really see the
Mhm.
value that people bring. But at the time, I thought that's a plan. But then I went through a phase. I was a drummer in my days, and I told my dad, I'm going to take my drum kit. I'm going to travel the world, and I'm just going to be a drummer. And he said, it's perfectly fine. You're more than welcome to do it. But the thing is, you have to carry that entire drum set all by yourself. And like, I mean, this is now early 2000s. So to imagine, it's not an electric set. It's like the bass drum, and the set actually still stands here, but it's the bass drum and everything. And I was like, that's not going to work for me. And but in that process, I actually I withdrew my application to Tux to the University of Pretoria for the education part of things. So this was now suddenly November, and I'm in matric, and my dad's like, Sissy, we have a deal, man. You have to start studying. Like, it's time. So I was like, any, mini, money, mo. This sounds like fun. Let's then go for law. This sounds good. So I enrolled for BCom law, for BA law. And when I got to varsity, the first day they told me we can do a straight LLB. So just 4 years instead of 5 years. So I'm like, yes, that sounds like fun. Let's sign me up for that one. I started studying law, and it was I enjoyed it. I think there's a lot of I love understanding things, and law specifically, because you don't really engage with law a lot during your school years. It was actually I actually enjoyed it. I didn't go to class at all. I'm not even going to pretend. Kids, please don't be like me. Like, seriously, you can do this so much easier, so much easier. But I enjoyed the rag, and I enjoyed the social life. And at some stage, my dad called me in my second year, and he's like, Sissy, we need to start focusing now. You can't just hang. You're gonna have to this thing of doing every subject twice is fantastic. We get that you really want to understand the work, but maybe you need to start moving through the schools. And I finished. I decided, oh no, I'm done with this university thing. So I switched to. Attending class thing. I'm anyway not going. So I switched to UNISA, and I almost started my articles. So I decided now it's feel it's coming to this one. So I quickly finished my articles and my degree and my law school in 3 years. So then I finished everything quickly, and I actually got admitted. Just when I actually got my degree. So by that time, I was ready, and I was actually admitted, which is pretty cool, in the Palace of Justice. So obviously, where the Rivonia trial was, that was a big thing for me, and I was admitted in front of Judge Bertelsmann, which is a rare honor for attorneys to actually. It's usually not those kind of judges that does the admission. So it was spectacular, and and then I said, I'm not going to practice law for a day in my life. And I joined Old Mutual. And I was actually a financial planner for a little bit. And then I realized, oh my goodness, I have to sell these policies. This doesn't sound like fun. And at the time, that was 2008. And it was the 2008 recession. Remember when we thought that was wild?
Yeah, that's when the world went upside down.
And we thought that was rough. We just didn't know 2021's coming our way. But we were phased in. And my ex-husband at the time got retrenched. And I'm not saying ex-husband at the time, like I have a new one every like my I don't recycle. But I just realized that sounded very funny. But he got retrenched, and he said he's gonna start his own law firm. I said, okay, go, have fun. It's going to be amazing. Enjoy it. And then when he bought the printer, the entrepreneur in me said, he's not doing this alone. This looks like fun, and you're going to join. And I started first time practicing as an admitted attorney in my own firm. I was 24. I was a partner of a brand new law firm. I had no idea what I was doing. I think we had about 23,000 rand from the retrenchment payment, and we had 2 staff members, Tanisani and Pietru. They came across from the retrenchment, and we had a law firm. And I was 24, like I said. I had no idea what was happening to me, and I tried to figure out how to do this thing. And the firm was called Cilna Steyn at the time, later Steyn and Partners. And we incorporated in 2015 when I took over as the managing director. And currently the firm is 15 years old, thriving specialist firm in, thank you, in rentals. I'm an expert in eviction law. And I just need to say for our viewers' sake, when I say eviction, I mean legal eviction in terms of Section 26 of the Constitution. And I fight very hard for property rights in our country. And when somebody has to be evicted, they have to be evicted with grace and really a lot of kindness. And there's not one attorney in my firm that we get a lot of critique always from our clients. They say, I want a bulldog attorney. A bulldog's not even scary, but anyway, I want one of those attorneys that's fighting. Most of the lawyers in the firm, most people doing the residential evictions are female for the reason that when somebody calls you and says, I'm going to be like evicted, you need to be kind enough to say, yes, okay, yes, how we can do it. You can, let's settle, let's give you time to vacate, but you're going to have to vacate. You can't stay in somebody's property without paying rent. And when we need to do a court order to do an eviction, we obviously follow the laws. So I'm very proud of my team. I have an amazing business partner and attorneys surrounding me in SSLR, which allows me to be involved with RISE because they are just absolutely astonishing. And this firm wouldn't be standing for 15 years and being recognized for what it is without the team. So that's, in short, my story.
Very, very colorful, I must say. Also, I did my own stint in law. My undergrad was economics and law. And I enjoyed it because I felt truly empowered to know what I can negotiate in the space where, there's contestation. I'm not an attorney, but I can definitely assess a situation and say, I think there's more to that you either need more protection based on where you are sitting, or you are vulnerable based on what has happened. And I think law, like history, is one of those subjects that are so important, especially for people getting into business. Whether it's contract law, property law, even constitutional law in our instance, is such an empowering thing to know how to manage and understand the tensions that exist within the realm of law. But I also just wanted to take a moment to just greet a few people who are connecting with us. We've got Gwen, who is saying some amazing stuff. Tsepo, what's up, my brother? Mokhadi. People who I can see that the names are recurring. And Aura the Explorer, I'm definitely going to touch on your question. I think it's an important one. It speaks to kind of, how South Africa has been built on racialized politics, and how, we want to shift to something bigger than that. St. Lawrence as well, good evening to you. Just amazing people who keep coming back. Michael obviously is a friend of ours, one of the risers. He heads up Tshwane as a big metro. So good evening to you and to Donald as well. So we're going to
hanging with Michael yesterday at Ridgeville.
Yes, I saw the pics. And I want to get into a little bit about that in terms of this weekend. But, let's start from the beginning. You then are this successful legal practitioner, entrepreneur, and then someone knocks at your door and says, why don't you do politics? Tell us how you got into RISE, what it meant for you, and what this journey now means for you as a professional, but also as someone who's a politician.
Sure. You said someone that's a politician, and I didn't argue. It took me a year to get here. Okay, so the story actually of RISE starts with my property law and my eviction way of life. And what happened was, in 2007, I got very frustrated with the Gauteng Rental Tribunal, and specifically the rental housing regulations pertaining to what a landlord may and may not do. And I'm always for safe accommodation and free and negotiations and stuff. But I'm very anti a landlord being held hostage by a situation where a tenant's not paying his rent. The tenant can, like, we're talking here 15, 20,000 rand a month rentals. I'm not talking the evictions that we do isn't homeless and destitute people. If it is, obviously we get the municipality support. But we're talking a tenant that signed a lease agreement to pay 15, 20 more thousand rand a month rental. Now they're not paying and they're pulling the whole, I can stay here for as long as I like. You need to follow the whole. The poor landlord might be reliant on their rental income to survive. So I see these things a little differently. So I approached the Gauteng legislator because I wanted assistance with these laws pertaining to landlords and tenants. And I ran into this guy in the legislature, one Mr. Makashule Ghana. And we had an engagement, and he introduced me to another guy who I thought would be able to help us. They were with another party at the time. And the other guy said, no, you know what, unfortunately, this is why I'm not giving more details on the story, being respectful here. The guy said, you know what, unfortunately, if a landlord can't afford an eviction, he's not supposed to own property. I was younger and spicier then, so I just took my handbag. My good friend and still a senior associate with us, Claire Lorraine, she was with me, and I took my handbag and I said, you know what, I will never again vote for your party because clearly you guys don't really care. And I just left, but it was spicy. It wasn't pretty. It was 2007. Didn't get what I wanted. We went through court in the end and got what we wanted. But I think poor Ghana, I've never seen something like this. And I think it obviously made a bit of an impression. And then when Herman Mashaba was the mayor of Johannesburg, I needed COJ to really step in and help with alternative accommodation. In that particular case, we had to do a big eviction where people would have been left homeless and destitute. COJ were just like, can't really help. So I wanted to talk to Herman Mashaba himself to say, dude, really, we need to make a plan for these people. So I called Ghana again, asked if he can get me in contact. And anyway, that story also didn't work out. But I think Ghana started realizing there's something weird to this one. And in October last year, Ghana posted on social media, who's willing to put their hand up to save our country? And I said, I am. And I was still doing my makeup. It's a Friday morning. And he messages me because we have each other's numbers. He messaged me and he says, Cilna, are you serious? Do you want to save the country? I said, yes, sure. And he said, okay, Songezo Zibi. And I had no idea who on earth Songezo Zibi is. I'm like, well, okay, it sounds like a fun guy. Little did I know I'm going to be burnt to a crisp, completely red, putting his face up on street poles. But but no idea who Songezo Zibi is. And I said, I replied, I still kept the messages because it's significant. I just said, I'm in. But I thought I'm in like doing an article or maybe like a show like this, a conversation. Didn't know what I'm into. And then on the 26th of November, it's almost our anniversary. It was that first meeting. That's where I met you. I met a lot of the people that's currently part of the NLC. And I still didn't know what we're doing. Honestly, I thought this is like a vibe. I'm liking the singing. I'm enjoying. I don't know what we're doing. And it was very cool to talk about what people want. But I still didn't know what we're doing. And then in January, in our first, what's now actually known to be our first real meeting for RISE, you will remember that I said, I still don't know exactly what we're doing here. I feel like I'm sitting in the dentist's office and I don't know what to expect.
I remember that. Yeah.
To everybody that's watching now, I can say it now feels like I'm 3 live root canals down, and I am now more committed than I was there. I honestly didn't know what we're doing, even not we doing, what I'm doing there. Like I couldn't see how I'm going to transition into a politician. I'm not even like an admitted attorney, but I'm not even a normal lawyer lawyering. So how am I going to be a politician when I don't even know exactly how to lawyer? What is this going to look like? And
Yeah.
it was amazing to stand on that stage on the 14th or on the 19th of April and stand in front of the people. And I made a speech. I can still recite my speech. And there was this, everybody had these speeches, and I realized people are starting to look at RISE Mzansi as a solution. And I surely do. I must say, by that time, I've prayed about it a lot, and I just get constant confirmation that this is a God plan. And I really don't say that. I mean to say, vote for RISE Mzansi because God's telling you to. I'm saying I'm in RISE Mzansi because God sends me. And every time I get tired, every time I get exhausted, I think the past 3 weeks, Tebsa, you'll agree with me, it was probably some of our toughest weeks. It's not just, you don't know how much effort it is to put up a poster. And for every volunteer, even if you put up one poster in, or if you've tightened one string, thank you. You guys are amazing. It's so much work. And even in those moments where we get exhausted, and it's scary because in moments we feel intimidated and you're in places that you don't know and things are pretty rough. I know I can just, turn to my family. I know I have a family that's praying for us, not just for me, for everybody at RISE. And we can turn to one another and we get encouragement because I still don't know how to do this politician thing. I don't think I'll ever see myself as a politician, but I'll always be. I passionately love my country, and I passionately love the people of my country, and every single person. I love people, and I want to see our country thrive because I know what the dream is for our country, not just the dream that the people have. I know what God's dream is for our country, and it's beautiful, and it's unity, and it's love, and it's absolutely astonishing. And I'm willing to work and burn myself to a crisp on a ladder, and I'm willing to do what I have to. I even tightened one of the other party's posters with one of my strings because I know how much work it is. I was like, Yella, let me just tighten this. If this thing's going to come off, I know how much they cost. Let's just tighten it for you. It changes you. Politics change you. To sit with the people in those town hall meetings, to hug the women that lost babies because they didn't get health care that they should have. The raw pain, the anguish that I've seen, I've known about it, and I've been luckily I haven't been a stranger to it, so I'm not shocked. But the honor to be allowed into people's spaces where they're willing to share that with you, if that doesn't change you, and if that doesn't give you a kick under the butt to want to do something about this situation. The kids are so beautiful in every town hall. There are always kids, and I think, wow, this country should do so much more for you. You are so beautiful. I've shared a photo on social media. I think it was about in July when I was in a community in Badfontein, not Badfontein, it was Verlorenkloof, so close to Leidenburg, actually also where I got married recently. And there was a little girl, and she looked so surprised. I think I'm like the first white person she sees. She was absolutely astonished. She just touched my hair the whole time. She was like, whoa. And I carried her around, and I hugged her, and I prayed for her, and I said, you deserve so much more. She's not going to be able to go to a school. I can see in her eyes, she can change the world. Flippin' Elon Musk, sorry, my friend. You have nothing on you if you know what the rest of South Africa holds.
Yeah.
We are a nation of winners and success, but we need to open the space for those children to grow and to build the country that we are, because we are spectacular.
Yeah. Yeah.
In short.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, with RISE Mzansi is a family of ordinary people ready to do the extraordinary. And the extraordinary sits in this nation. It's in every corner, in every pub, in every school, in every church or mosque, or it's everywhere. And RISE Mzansi is really about being a platform to unlock the true potential of the people of this country collectively. And that's why, when we talk about our vision statement and we say we want to build the South Africa we deserve, which is a safe, prosperous, equal, and united South Africa in one generation. It took us a long time to write that sentence because we wanted to say something that connects all South Africans and makes them feel like this is a home for them. So, as you share, that is the true story of our journey. And you quickly kind of went over an important experience, and I hope you feel safe enough to go there with us. Just about some of the difficulties and the challenges that you have faced, and how they have shaped your politics and what you're interested in and what is priority to you. Maybe let's stand still for a second there, because I always believe that pain is difficult, but wisdom also comes through pain. And when we go through the pain and we look back retrospectively, the contribution we then are able to make is fundamentally different. It's almost sacrosanct because you don't invite pain and chaos into your own life. It's difficult to do that. We don't wake up and say, "Oh, maybe I just want a little bit of trauma mixed with all of this other stuff." It's almost a gift that God gives to you, and if you're able to transcend that, you're able to be a much more deeper, connected, stronger human being, because you would never be able to do it on your own. So maybe take us there, Cilna, if you don't mind, and if you do, we're more than welcome not to force you to go there.
No, I'm happy. I'm happy to share, and I think it's exactly that. I think vulnerability and openness. In the beginning of our conversation, I said I know one of my biggest jobs in this country is going to be um, being willing to openly share stories and tell and in my telling of my stories, allow other people to feel comfortable to open up about their feelings and their stories, and in that we heal. So the reason why I love, and I do love, getting close to pain and getting close to real human suffering is
Mm,
then you can do something about it. And I refuse to turn away from that because it's so easy. Like you said, it's the natural thing to do. So please don't for a moment think I would judge anybody who prefers to, skip over the pain, stick to the comfort of your life. I really don't judge that. But I had the joy of making horrible life choices in a time in my life where my ego was running the show. I was, Yelle, you have no idea. I was potentially the coolest person that you've ever met. I was super hotshot. I was about 30, 31, and I was on the panel of experts for the Law Society of South Africa. I was the ultimate um, eviction go-to person in the country. It was just you that couldn't believe. I was too young to understand that just because you have a very small group of people that know who you are and respect you, a few lawyers, a few rental agents, it's not the reality of who you are. You are actually still just you, and
mm,
you just have a platform now. And what you do with your platform is very important. Unfortunately, in the time I've decided that my platform, what I will do with that is I would rather push into that ego thing and I wanted people to think that I'm important and I'm very cool and I can do whatever I want to do. It led to horrible things, and I've made very, very bad life choices. And in that, I betrayed myself, and that was the most painful thing that a human can do. And that's the most painful thing to forgive, is forgiveness of yourself. It takes so much to forgive yourself and trust yourself again. It's a pretty wild thing to go through. But I had a beautiful encounter. The previous evening, I was recently divorced, and I was completely alone. I came very close to not having my children at all at this stage. I have a very close relationship with my children, and I have them with me every single day. And parents, please honor and love the moments with your children. It's sometimes you get close to losing it. So that's just a side note. But came close to losing that, came close to even losing the firm. I almost ran that into the ground in all of my ego running. And I won silver for Business Women of the Year or something. It was very important in my life then. So now I can't even exactly recall what it was. And I was sitting on my balcony, and I was completely alone. It was early morning of the 6th of November 2016. And I won this award, and I actually thought like it's pretty cool. And I was alone. And I looked into the sky, and I said to God, if you really love me, if I'm not really alone, just show me something. And I don't know, Tebsa, if you've ever seen the background on my phone, but remember to have a look at some stage. The clouds formed a heart. And since then, that's the background on my phone. I know everybody's going to walk past my phone now, and please do. And it's a perfect art. I actually recently also shared it on Facebook on the 6th of November. And that moment pulled me into his love, and realization that my life is not mine. My life is his. And I live my life for him. And I prayed a very dangerous prayer shortly after that. I prayed that he will make my heart hurt for what hurts his heart. And he heard my prayer, and he gave me what I asked for. And what hurts his heart hurts mine, and deeply and real. But I know I have the Holy Spirit guiding me through that, and guiding me into what to do with it. Don't just hurt. You can't just hurt. Just hurt doesn't help anybody. Hurt and do, because that leads to action. Pain leads to action. And I think something absolutely crucial is, if you are willing to step, that old thing of the comfort zones where all good stories go to die. I believe that, because in comfort and in squishiness, the only thing that happens is you're going to get like lazy and fat. Like, you're not going to have a good story to tell. I'm like all for lazy and fatness, whatever floats your boat. But I don't want to be there. I want to live a life where I step into moments where I think, yo, this is probably not safe. Shan, poor Malan, my husband, I'm still getting used to saying that. He's like, please just turn off your location stuff, because sometimes I really don't even want to know where you are. It's crazy. The places we go, but I know I'm protected, because I know I'm chosen, and I know I'm anointed, and all of us are very specifically sent on this mission, and so is our volunteers and every field organizer. And we're praying for protection, because this job that we're doing isn't a job, and it's not easy. It's a way of life. It's absolutely mad and crazy. And my mum, when I got the nomination for, although whatever we called it, to be the deputy chair, I called my mum. I said, Mum, should I do it? She said, Sissy, as your mother, I wish you have a boring job. I want you to actually just be a like stay-at-home mom, just keep it simple. But as your spiritual sister, please do it, because
Mm.
it's going to be scary, it's going to be dangerous, it's going to be exhausting at times. But if you send, you send. And early last year, I prayed for God to send me, and then Rise came across my path. And in going into the places where I feel hurt, I know it drives me to work to change.
Yeah, profound. Thank you for sharing, and thank you for your vulnerability. It's a gift that I hope, as the culture of Rise, which I think we've been able to, we have built a relationship with vulnerability. That's the only way we could build such a strong leadership team in such a short space of time, is by showing our true selves, because we've seen what happens when people have got, side agendas, and they're there to just achieve something different. But I truly believe that our team of leaders, our teams of field organizers, volunteers, supporters, are people that are connected to the journey, and I hope we can continue to protect that, because I think that is what is going to carry us into the next type of politics, a conscious politics, a politics of care, a politics of love, of connectedness, of authenticity, because we've seen what the other version does. It has led us to this crisis that we find ourselves in on a daily basis. So yeah, I think you're exemplary in terms of the type of politics that we want to see. And interestingly, when you mentioned God, thunder came, and when you mentioned your mom, thunder came.
I also like, ooh, the time when we say fireside chat, I didn't bargain on nice rainy weather, and I hope everybody's got like nice something warm to drink, frying a marshmallow.
That's it.
It
That's it.
is powerful.
Yeah. So no, we are now at just after 7. We've got about 20 minutes to go. But let's keep going. I just want to double click on a few things. So one of the things is deputy chair. What is that about? What is kind of the contribution you make in this organization that now has, hundreds of thousands of supporters? It has an NLC of over 20. It's a complex machinery now. It's not like something that you can, scoff at. You just have to look at the poster campaign that we've run and the weekend that we've just had, with the National Visibility Day. We are no longer something that you can look at and say, yeah, whatever. It's a serious organization with serious implications based on the time we spend. So yeah, tell us a little bit about the deputy chair. Who are you deputy to? What do you deputize? Just share a bit about that.
That's a question I had to really find answers for over time as a new organization, obviously, and a new party. And especially, we don't want to copy and paste. I think for everybody that's watching this, I think politics is relatively easy if you're willing to copy and paste. Like
Yeah.
seriously, it's relatively easy. You just look at what the other guys are doing. You do that. You just say you're going to do it different, and then you don't, and then you're cool. If you do it differently, it's pretty wild because there's no example. Luckily, because I'm an entrepreneur and I've been down this road, and also motherhood has a way of also humbling you and getting you into a place where you don't know. I'm quite comfortable to not know.
Mm,
I'm a pioneer in on a cellular level, so I love not knowing and to
mm,
figure it out. And so, as the deputy chair, I think in any other political party, it would have been relatively easy to figure out what that is. In RISE Mzansi, obviously the deputy chair to the national chair, who is my very close friend, Vuiswa Ramagopa. We've known each other from the property law side, but we never knew each other. We've shared a few webinars and stuff, but we didn't know each other. And really, over the past year, I came to really, really, truly love Vuiswa so deeply, and I honor our friendship. And I said to my daughter the other day, my friendship with Vuiswa feels like this gift sometimes people give it, and it's a gift from my father. Here's a gift for you. Here's a friend that you're going to walk a long time with. So it's not just being a deputy to the national chair, currently for Iswaramafapa, but it's also being support to her. She has a very difficult job. To be the chairperson of a political organization is a very horrible, a very scary situation, because it's so multifaceted. You need to oversee the organization, so almost in the CEO kind of role, but at the same time, you're political facing. So it's really a wild one. So in that space, to be the deputy chair, obviously a big support role to the chairperson. But I also have the joy of having the IEC role. And what that means is my good friend Tumi and I, Boitumelu Mpakanyane, what a wonderful human. I get a bit emotional about everybody in RISE. Tepsa, if I was talking about you and not to you, I probably would have been equally emotional about you. I just love everybody I work with. But Tumi and I had the honor of registering RISE Mzansi as a political party at the IEC. Yella, it's bizarre. And yella, a shout out to my assistant, Natasha Bonet. She was a legal secretary, the poor woman, all her life. The next moment she became my PA. Now she's into politics. And she did the most beautiful file cover with RISE Mzansi stuck on top. We had to collect 1,000 signatures. In those days, it was a lot. I think now we can easily to collect 100,000 signatures. Like it won't even be. It's done in a week. No worries. Just for logistics a week. If we can do it efficiently, it could be quicker. But at the time, nobody knew about RISE, so to get signatures was wild. And Tumi and I were sitting at the IEC with this file, and a lot of things can happen. Like, are they going to register us? But this is now already down the line. People are already wearing RISE t-shirts, and we're like, are we going to be registered? And I have no idea what we're doing. We sat there, and I said, like, I've always had a deep respect and appreciation for Madiba, and I've listened to. I don't read books. I listen to books. Listened to Long Walk to Freedom quite a few times, and in telling the stories about where they've been and where they come from, I've I've always thought, what was the conversations that was happening between Madiba and Oliver Tambo? Like, were they just having normal conversations? Yeah, they were. They were. And with Tumi and I sitting there at the IEC, it was profound, because knowing that this is the party, there's going to be this logo that's now on this file, is going to be on the ballot paper. This thing is going to have people in parliament, is probably going to have the president wearing that t-shirt very soon. Eh? It's like, this is big. This is like adulting next level. But we still didn't take ourselves too seriously. We take the country seriously, and we take the work that we do. This unicorn earphone. Eh? But like I said, we don't take ourselves too seriously. But the work that we do isn't just serious. It is people's lives we are talking about. So IEC role that. I also have a very close operational role. So especially around HR, those kind of things, obviously, because I'm the lawyer in the team, luckily, again, with my friend Tumi. But I do oversee a lot of our contractual drafting, which is beautiful for me because it's new. I've never had to draft the kind of contracts that we are currently using in RISE. I can draft a lease agreement with my eyes closed. I've been drafting quite the most used lease agreement in South Africa for years now. But to draft these things is very different for me. And then also, once it gets to the time is here, candidate selection, those to gazette those things, and then when we get to election, obviously all those things is my role currently. Please pray for our posters, guys. It's so sad. Our posters sometimes gets taken down, and it's a sad situation. So I need to also report that. Apparently, it's very normal in politics, but it's heartbreaking because it's a lot of work to get them up. So to see them go down is heartbreaking. I'm pretty emotional about that, but I feel it's personal. I know it's not, but
it's very
it's
personal. Very personal.
it's a lot of work. So I have to report those also to the IEC. So it's a very interesting role, but at the same time, because it's very close to the IEC, there's a very strong administrative role, very strong organizational role, which I'm quite comfortable with, but then also a very a beautiful political element to it, which I never thought I would have the honor of doing, but I do get to get close to politics in a normal political sense, to be close with people on the ground and actually see what the needs are, and to start formulating a plan for how to govern. I spend the majority of my time when I think thinking about what a RISE Mzansi government should do. I'm not in this game because it's a game. I'm in this game because I'm sent. And if I know the one that sends me, if he has a plan, you need to be ready. Because if we in government, not if, when we in government, we need to be ready. And I spend a lot of my time around those things. What was those conversations I told you earlier about Madiba and Oliver Tambo? What are the conversations that we need to have today to protect RISE Mzansi 30 years from now, to still have this thing that's, we can't define it. It's this thing that makes it different. To protect that thing, we first need to codify the thing. We need to understand what it is, and we need to understand how we maintain that, and not just maintain. How do we build on that for 30 years and beyond? Because when my daughter is president, she says this is the way it's going to be. When my daughter is president, she needs to be able to really be running in a party that's still the essence of love and care and true politics. And the way South Africa is going to look back then, being like the most wealthy country in the world, we need to make sure that we have a ruling party that's not going to help themselves, but help the people of the country.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You've shared so much, the coincidence of Mandela and OR being legal practitioners, and how that served them in the journey of building and growing even, a huge political movement, and how you find yourself with Tumelo kind of navigating the same waters, how profound that is, and I can hear there's some fireworks happening in the background.
Yeah.
We also want to take a moment to wish our beautiful RISE Mzansians a happy Diwali. We are an inclusive movement. You can't talk about solidarity and unity without understanding and celebrating the kaleidoscope that is South Africa. So, I hope those who are celebrating Diwali today are together with family and community, and really breaking bread and having a good time. And then one thing that you spoke about briefly, which I think is absolutely crucial, is the candidate selection. So there's a campaign that has started, which is the candidate selection process of RISE Mzansi, which is fundamentally different to what you would see other political parties do. Maybe, for 2-3 minutes, let us sit in that discussion for a sec. What is it, and what are we trying to get out of that?
I think in this conversation, everybody's going to think I'm trying to get a nice Christmas gift from Boitumelo. But to me, is the head of the internal democracy for RISE Mzansi. He's young. How old to me? 27, I think.
Yeah, somewhere there. Below 30.
Brilliant. Yeah, but he's young. He's on that side of 30, unlike some of us. That's now on the 40 mark. But so to me worked with our internal democracy team, and it's a lot of us from the NLC that's been journeying with this. what does it look like? How does your candidate selection process look different? Not just for the sake of being different. I mean, you can paint anything pink and just say it's different. What makes it different? Even if it seems similar, what is the essence? And the core of our candidate selection process, we've promised South Africa even before the name RISE Mzansi was attached to this thing, we promised that the best would lead, that we will get the absolute best in society to lead. And it's not a difficult thing really to do, but it's much more difficult than you think. You're going to have to find somebody that's willing to leave his current job or leave his current situation, a woman that should actually be leading, to potentially spend slightly less time with their children, a father that has to travel a bit more. It's not easy to get the best to lead. So, but it wasn't a dream that we had, and now it's just like, oh, that was something nice to say. It's really where we are. So what we are at, we opened on Wednesday, Tips, am I right? Yes.
Yeah.
You can also have a look at our website, risemzansi.org. Go on the candidate selection tab. It's amazing because what we're doing is we have a two stream. One is a nomination stream where you know somebody, you know what, this person in my community, I need them to represent my community in the provincial legislature, in the national legislature. Nominate them. The process will flow from there. Or you can apply. If you feel, you know what, I am willing to raise my hand. These people seem crazy. I like to roll with crazy people. It seems like they are onto something. And I want to build a better country for my children and their children. Willing to raise my hand, you can apply. So through the nomination process, we have an independent nominations committee who will consider these things, obviously, not actually obviously, but in our lives, obviously. It goes through quite a strict process of doing all sorts of background checks, making sure we don't get sorties into our system.
We call them amasela.
Exactly. So we're doing that thing to make sure we get the best people in. Obviously, the question is always, what if somebody has a criminal record, but it was unfair, something that he didn't get an opportunity, or a credit check that comes back with a judgment, but because it was a business partner that messed up, don't worry, all of that is built into the system. There are fail safes in that system, you can't believe, to open a situation where you won't be prejudiced, no nominee will be prejudiced. But if it indeed comes back that you don't have a clean record of looking after things that you entrusted with, you would unfortunately not make the cut for RISE, and not unfortunately, sorry. We just get people into our system to lead the country that we know we would entrust our children's country into their hands. It's a big thing. It's a very specific process, but I'm very proud to see the excitement, the kind of nominations that we are receiving, the numbers. Obviously, at this stage, even I don't have names, so we can't make names public because we don't even have them. It's a very filtered system, and filtered in a way that it's really 100% transparent, but very without having the risk of undue meddling and just getting friends in. So it's a beautiful process, and I'm excited to see the excitement from the country, because I do believe the best people, the absolute best people, are out there. So if you know you are that person, or you know that person, please hop onto the website and nominate them, nominate yourself, apply. Please put your hands up. We can't do this alone. Yella, we're exhausted after just putting posters up. Can you imagine? We have to run the country alone. So please help.
Thanks, Cilna. Yeah, we are crowdsourcing the very best to lead. I think our theory, one of our theories of change, is that the pool from where we've been looking for leaders has been too shallow, and it hasn't really been the very best. So in this process, you don't even have to support RISE. You just have to be someone who loves this country and wants to contribute. And so, you know, what is unique about it is that we are literally going beyond ourselves as an organization, to attract and bring the very best, who believe in themselves and want to make a contribution. So I think it's a very powerful moment for us. I know many times I looked at myself and I was like, you know I could do this thing, but I know that the incumbent and the system that's currently running doesn't allow for that. I first have to be part of a branch, then I have to be part of this chapter, and then I have to have done this and that. And we're saying you don't need all of those. You just need to be a person that loves South Africa, who's got the capability and the competence to do that, and the expertise and the experience to then, assist South Africa to really transition and move into a path of excellence. And I think we're onto something quite interesting. And also, I think we're demystifying the concept of politics. Even, we get that question a lot, Cilna, where people are like, but you have not served in politics, you haven't worked in government, and therefore how would you be able to know what to do? And the truth is, the track records and the spaces that we've operated in, I mean, you shared a bit about what you've done to build, the company that you have and the practice that you have. That is politics, the politics of preparedness, the politics of commitment, of a deep love for what you do and to continue to invest and build things. That is politics. And so for South Africans, we say don't have an imposter syndrome. Don't feel that you are not worthy of having a seat at the table. This country belongs to all of us. And therefore, it mustn't be that, because you're not wearing a specific type of shirt or you can't sing and dance and chant, that you don't get, the opportunity to really lead. And so, we're just trying to level the playing field and say, if you believe in this country and you believe in yourself, put your hand up and let's see if we can get you as close as possible to being, one of the leaders that can shape the country going forward. So thank you, Cilna. We've got 5 minutes to go. And what I want to ask is, we had the National Day of Visibility yesterday, and we, some of our colleagues and compatriots also did work today. What were you doing yesterday, and how did that feel?
It was amazing. I was in Atteridgeville with Michael and a few of the other guys serving in the Tshwane community. We were just, I'm just quickly going to sound like super squishy and touchy, but just bear with me. We were actually just loving on people across the country. We didn't go across the country. I was there. Everybody else were in different parts of the country. I even saw today a team in Uppington, everywhere. We were everywhere. Even I'm very close to the numbers. I know exactly how many volunteers, field organizers, people we have. And even I was a bit shocked at how many. I was like, whoa. If we have to have a stadium, if we were stadium politicians, we would easily fill the FNB stadium. Unfortunately, it was now occupied, with the Kaizer Chiefs, Orlando Pirates thing. Otherwise, I still think God, I was so happy today. Sorry for everybody else. But it was spectacular to see. It was spectacular to see the amount of people coming to ask about RISE. What is this thing? I've seen the posters now. Tell me more. What is the story? So from there, I actually came to Roodepoort in Helderkruin. And my 75-year-old aunt, Tannie Monica, she's now on the other side of the family. She's on my mom's side. She was putting up posters in 1994. And she said, Sissy, I gaan jou kom help. I know how to put up a poster. I know exactly how to. And Tannie Monica was helping me put up posters. And it was this beautiful full circle of 2024 is really on 1994. People that was putting up posters then, still putting up posters, but now they're slightly differently. But it was beautiful. And looking at all the photos and all the videos, and there was singing. There was a beautiful march in Cape Town, massive, massive march. Beautiful in the sense of unity, not beautiful. The reasons obviously are very painful, but it was just profound across the country to see how RISE Mzansi can either just step into a new community with political pain and bring a bit of a soft, squishy, but adult. It's the country needs a mother and a father, and that thing can be one. That adult that steps in and says, "I see your pain. Let me give you a hug. Let me help you, and let's stabilize things. Let me just. We are there." And the people in South Africa are the the right ingredient we need to make this thing great. Every person that I meet in my journey in Rise is somebody that wants to. That nobody wants this country to fail. I haven't, in all my time, I haven't met one person that wants South Africa to fail. But
Yeah.
they need a vehicle to hop in, and I am starting to see a lot of sparks of glimmers of hope where people that are tired, that are hurt in politics, deeply hurt in politics, that are starting to feel safe again. It's like when you've been through a very bad divorce, very bad breakup, and you are so broken. My own life story says something about that.
Yeah.
And you find love again, and it's kind, and it is safe, and it is really something beautiful to be in. I think Rise, people are starting to feel that. And it's really what we are and really what we're meant to be. And the day of national visibility, I think the people that were like, am I in, am I out? Maybe it's a small little, are like, oh, okay, no, I can roll with this. It's not a, like a little childhood gang that's going to ride down the street on their bicycles. It's a real
Mm.
thing that can govern the country.
Yeah. And that will certainly. Thank you, Cilna. What a beautiful conversation. I've known you for less than a year, but I have incredible admiration for who you are, what you've been able to build in your practice at the moment, but most importantly, your attitude towards life. You take life seriously enough to know that we need to show up, and you show up often and almost all the time. When you show up, you are vibrant and ready to go. I love the all stars. I love that your celebration of color, and the fact that you are a true professional. And I think this is something that we want to send out as a call, is that for far too long, professionals, the intellectual class, the middle class, we've kind of abdicated our responsibility of putting our shoulder to the wheel. We've kind of paid our way through life, getting medical aid and sending our kids to private schools and living in gated communities. So we've buffered ourselves from the impact of the lack of support and leadership in this country. But now we are all looking at what's happening and the crises that we see, and we're like, sure, we cannot continue to do nothing. The cost of doing nothing is just too high. And so, I think people like you and I, Vuyiswa, Songezo, we all are this group of people who come from interesting beginnings, but find convergence in the moment that says, use the privilege that you have to serve your country at the highest level, and make sure that you can have the highest impact. So on that note, I don't know if you have any parting comments to wish our fellow risers well. I know we've got a lot of work ahead of us in the weeks to come, but I just wanted to give you an opportunity for a final word.
Thank you. And thank you, Tepsa. Actually, firstly, thank you to you for serving every Sunday. Like, we pop in and like, hey, and we do our thing for an hour and a half, but you do this every Sunday evening. And really, I want you to know we really respect and appreciate the work that you're doing. We see it, and your energy and your love for your country and for RISE Mzansi is absolutely beautiful. So thank you, first of all, for hosting these conversations. You make it easy to be vulnerable. You make it easy to tell your story. So I really just want to thank you first. I really, really love and appreciate you so, so much.
Thank you.
And for everybody that took the time to spend this conversation, it felt like it was just Tebsa and I having a coffee, but a long coffee, 2 coffees. My tea is cold. But for everybody that took the time, thank you so much for spending this time with us. For everybody that's going to watch it later, thank you for watching. Thank you for being interested in RISE. And thank you for loving us and caring. And thank you for your grace in knowing that we are new and we are figuring this out, not as we go. We've thought about this a little bit in advance, but thank you for your grace. Thank you for noticing when we make mistakes and overseeing it when we are willing to admit our mistakes and move forward. Thank you for your grace and your love. And please, please, please keep on praying for us. Pray for every our volunteers and field organizers that are out there talking to people, engaging people. Pray for their safety, pray for our safety, and for wisdom. We need so much wisdom. And yeah, thank you for your support. And we really appreciate everyone. And I do believe that South Africa is going to be something absolutely spectacular, and we're going to brag about this country in absolutely no time.
Thanks, Cilna. I know this. I have the same book behind you that says "Awesome South Africa," and that's on that note. I think that's exactly what we're going to do. RISE Mzansi is the platform that's going to unlock the potential this country has been waiting for. When we say we are the ones who've been waiting for, it's at an individual level, but it's also what happens when there's a rising tide that lifts all ships. We're not selfish about RISE Mzansi. It's a space of expression, a space for people to bring their ideas. The fact that we're not a breakaway, we've got no chip on our shoulder. We really are just people who are excited to get things going and to see the exciting part of South Africa. But we know there's the hard work that needs to come. And that's why we talk about our vision statement within a generation. 2024 is important, and I hope all of you go out and register to vote and go out to vote. But 2026 is going to be just as important, in 2029. And those are just the electioneering years. In between, we have to do the hard work of looking at each other as human beings and say, what can I do for my fellow South African? And if we can constantly be in solidarity with each other's interest in wanting to have a better experience of this country, then I think we'll be better off. So Cilna, thank you so much. What an amazing conversation. I always look forward to these because I get the front seat into your lives. And other people get to kind of watch after the fact or during the live. But I really, really treasure these moments, and they mean a lot to me. But also thank you to my family for giving me the opportunity to have these conversations with our leadership and the RISE ecosystem. Thank you, Cilna. Love you lots. We'll see you tomorrow at the office, bright and early.
Brilliant.
We always have got work to do, but we do it out of love and out of care.
Exactly. And remember to register to vote next weekend, or just go online now while you're at it.
Yeah, just do it. Do it.
Just do it. It's like an obvious thing. Thanks, Tebsa. Thanks, everyone.
Continue to pray for us. We appreciate you deeply.